Drop your hand or I will fire. The command echoed across the narrow concrete bridge, sharp enough to cut through the sound of flowing water below. Cars slowed on the county road, drivers craning their necks, unsure whether what they were seeing was real. A teenage girl stood frozen near the guardrail, her backpack half slipped from one shoulder. In front of her, a man in a dark uniform blocked the only path forward, his arms stretched wide like he owned the air itself. And just beyond them, angled across the road with its lights still off, sat a gray SUV marked with a seal most people only ever saw in their rearview mirrors. Before any of that, the bridge had been quiet. Too quiet. 16-year-old Naomi Carter crossed it every weekday afternoon on her walk home from the bus stop. It connected Pine Hollow Road to the older part of town, a simple public bridge spanning a shallow river and a stretch of trees nobody bothered cutting back anymore. She liked it that way. Her headphones were in, music low, awareness high. Her father had taught her that much early on. Pay attention, trust patterns, notice what doesn't belong. That was why she saw the truck before it moved, a white pickup idle just past the bridge entrance, parked crooked like the driver hadn't bothered lining it up properly. The logo on the door read Ridgewood Estates Security. Naomi slowed. Ridgewood Estates was a gated HOA neighborhood half a mile uphill. Everyone knew their rules were aggressive, but their boundaries were clear. The bridge wasn't theirs. It never had been. She took another step. The truck door opened. A man stepped out, heavy boots striking concrete louder than necessary. He adjusted the radio clip to his vest and glanced down the empty road like he was checking for witnesses. "Hey," he called, "stop right there." Naomi pulled one ear cup down. "Why?" "You can't cross here," he said, walking toward her. "HOA restriction." She frowned. "This is a county bridge." He smiled thinly. "Not anymore." That was the first lie. Naomi didn't argue emotionally. She'd learned better than that. "I walk here every weekday. You don't have jurisdiction." His face vanished. "Watch how you talk to me. I'm authorized to enforce access." She looked past him at the faded county sign bolted to the rail. Public infrastructure, maintained by state transport. "You're lying," she said calmly. "Move." The man stepped closer, invading her space. Last warning. Her pulse picked up, but her voice didn't. She reached into her pocket and unlocked her phone. "I'm calling my dad." That did it. His hand shot out, slapping the phone from her grip. It bounced once and slid toward the edge of the bridge. Naomi inhaled sharply. "You don't do that," she said. His face twisted. "I do whatever I want on my roads." Before she could step back, his hand clamped around her wrist, hard, too hard. Panic surged, sharp and immediate. "Let go of me," she said, louder now. He leaned in. "You're trespassing, and now you're resisting." His other hand dropped to his belt. Drivers passing on the far end of the bridge slowed, uncertain. No one stopped. Naomi twisted, trying to pull free. That's when she felt the cold press of metal near her ribs. Not a gun, something shorter, sharper. "Don't scream," he whispered. "I don't want this to get messy." Her breath caught. This wasn't policy enforcement. This was something else entirely. Unseen near the guardrail, Naomi's phone lay face up, the screen still lit. The call she'd started hadn't disconnected. Miles away, Daniel Carter heard everything. The voice, the threat, the sudden silence. Daniel didn't shout, didn't swear. He stood up slowly from the kitchen table, already moving in his head. Keys, badge, weapon. Daniel Carter had spent 12 years as a state trooper before transferring to investigations. He knew the sound of real authority, and the sound of someone pretending. This man was pretending. By the time Naomi's attacker tightened his grip, confident no one would interfere, a gray SUV rolled onto Pine Hollow Road with purpose. Back on the bridge, the man laughed quietly. "See, no one's coming." Then tires crunched behind him. He turned just enough to see the SUV door open. and the man stepping out didn't shout. He didn't rush. He simply raised his weapon, steady as stone. "Take your hand off my daughter," Daniel Carter said. The bridge fell silent.
The man on the bridge froze. Not because he suddenly understood the law, not because he found his conscience. He froze because the voice behind him carried something he hadn't planned for: certainty. Daniel Carter stood 10 yards away, feet planted, arms steady, weapon aligned but not trembling. His badge was clipped openly to his belt, catching the afternoon light. The gray SUV behind him sat at an angle that blocked both lanes of the bridge, its presence deliberate and unmistakable. "Let her go," Daniel said again. "Now." The man's grip tightened instead. "You don't want to do this," he snapped, trying to sound in control. "This is HOA business." Daniel took one slow step forward. "This is a public bridge. You're holding a minor with a concealed blade. That makes this felony assault." Naomi's breath shook against the inside of her chest. The metal pressed closer, grazing fabric now. She could feel the man's pulse racing through his forearm. He was scared. That made him dangerous. "You shoot me and you're done," the man barked. "You hear me? I'm security." Daniel didn't argue. He shifted his stance just enough to improve his angle. The man laughed, high and wrong. "You won't fire, not with traffic watching." That assumption was the last mistake he made. Daniel didn't raise his voice. He didn't threaten again. He fired once. The shot cracked across the bridge, echoing off the concrete rails. The bullet struck the man high in the shoulder, spinning him sideways. His grip failed instantly. The blade clattered across the pavement, skidding to a stop inches from Naomi's shoe. She stumbled forward, free. Daniel crossed the distance in seconds, pulling Naomi behind him, one arm wrapping her tight against his chest, while the weapon stayed trained forward. "Are you hurt?" he asked, voice low. She shook her head, tears spilling now that the danger had broken. "No, I'm okay." "Good. Stay behind me." The man screamed, clutching his shoulder, shock and pain fighting for control. "You shot me! You're dead! You—" "Don't move," Daniel ordered. "Hands where I can see them." The man ignored him, scrambling toward the truck. Daniel adjusted his aim downward, calm as a metronome. That stopped him. Cars had fully stopped now. Doors opened, phones came out. Someone shouted that police were on the way. Sirens answered faster than expected. Within minutes, 2 county cruisers screeched onto the bridge from opposite ends, lights washing the scene red and blue. Officers exited cautiously, taking in the wounded man on the ground, the knife on the pavement, Daniel standing firm with his weapon lowered but ready, and Naomi shaking behind him. "Sir, put the firearm down," one officer said. Daniel complied immediately, placing it on the concrete and stepping back. "State Trooper Daniel Carter, off duty. That man assaulted my daughter with a blade." Naomi stepped forward then, hands trembling but clear. "He blocked the bridge. He said it was HOA land. He grabbed me." An officer knelt to collect the knife, gloved hand careful. Another cuffed the wounded man as paramedics arrived. "You're under arrest, attempted kidnapping, aggravated assault, impersonating authority." "That's not fair," the man shouted, panic bleeding through. "I was told to do it." Heads turned. "Who told you?" an officer asked. The man hesitated, eyes darting toward the white pickup. Then a woman pushed through the small crowd forming at the bridge entrance. She wore a tailored blazer, heels unsuited for concrete, her expression sharp with outrage. Linda Harrington, president of Ridgewood Estates HOA, pointed at Daniel like she'd been waiting for this moment. "That man shot our security officer. He trespassed onto HOA enforcement." Daniel didn't look at her. The officers did. "Ma'am, this is a county bridge." "That doesn't matter," Linda snapped. "We have enforcement authority over adjacent access points." The officer blinked for half a second, just long enough. The wounded man seized it. "She told me," he blurted, voice cracking. "She said scare them, block the bridge, make them stop using it." The crowd murmured. Phones recorded. Linda's face drained of color. "He's lying." Naomi lifted her phone then, hands still shaking. "I have audio, from when he grabbed me." Daniel nodded. "And my dash cam was running." That changed everything. Officers reviewed the footage on site, the threats, the lie about jurisdiction, the blade, clear, unavoidable. Linda tried to leave. An officer stopped her. "Ma'am, you're being detained pending investigation." By nightfall, it was over. Emails surfaced, HOA directives, written instructions targeting non-resident foot traffic, complaints fabricated, orders signed. The story spread fast. The man was charged and later sentenced for attempted abduction and aggravated assault. His security certification turned out to be nothing more than an online printout. Linda Harrington was charged with conspiracy, abuse of power, and endangerment of a minor. Ridgewood Estates HOA fell under state investigation and was dissolved within months. The bridge reopened the next morning. Daniel stood there with Naomi, the river flowing quietly beneath them. The world returned to its proper size. "Is it done?" she asked. "Yes," he said. "It's done." They crossed together, and this time no one stopped them.